Welcome to Abandoned Items 3. This is where I spot abandoned items out on the streets, in parks, or just generally in the wild, and then speculate about them. It's slightly better than it sounds. We haven't done one of these for a while actually, but don't worry, I've been carefully collating and documenting, and now I have 5 of my favourites to show you. After the title. We start with one of the oddest abandoned items I've ever seen, but it's certainly one of my favourites. The complete works of Franz Kafka. A lot can be learned about a neighbourhood from the books you find abandoned on the pavement. Now, I'm not here to make any judgments, but I did find this just round the corner, so I think it's fair to say I live in a very learned area. Although I suppose you could argue the opposite, and actually I live in quite an illiterate area where people are constantly purging themselves of classics in favour of endless hours watching idiots on YouTube talk about the things they found on pavements. Anyway, seeing a box of books put out for pasture is not particularly unusual, but seeing this one single book left forlornly outside is pretty odd, I think. And it made me wonder how the conversation in that home before they chucked the book out might have gone.
I'm thinking of throwing some books out, making some space.
Oh yeah? Any idea which ones?
Green?
No.
Endo?
No.
Bronte?
No.
Dostoevsky?
No.
Trelfa?
God, no.
The Death of WCW?
No, look, I worry about the optics of chucking out classics. I don't want the neighbours thinking we're Philistines.
Well, we've got to get rid of something. What about the complete works of Kafka?
I guess. My copy or your copy?
My copy, I think. It's more well thumbed. Looks like we've read it, and now we've done our learning, we're willing to share it with the rest of the community. It's more altruistic.
And we could keep the pristine copy for ourselves.
Won't be pristine for long, though, will it? You little bookworm.
Oh, you.
Yeah, I've seen that sort of thing done on Toptic, so thought I'd give it a go. Most abandoned items tend to be small things. Over the years, we've seen a severed doll's head, a glove, and of course, a couple of pain au chocolat, buttery butter, all butter, butter, butter pastry. But recently I found this, an entire dining set, minus the table, and possibly 2 chairs, as you'd expect 6 rather than 4 in most sets, to allow for guests. Now correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is a set from IKEA.
This is what it's like in your 40s.
You have built up a vast knowledge of IKEA products without even noticing.
This is what it's like in your 40s.
Admittedly, 3 of the 4 of these chairs are a little threadbare and have endured a lot of sitting on. A number of farts that have been gently released into their deep fibres doesn't really bear thinking about, but one of them is in pretty decent shape. I like to think this one was kept for best, perhaps for an elderly relative, or even set aside in the cupboard under the stairs in case of an unexpected visit from someone really important, like the Queen or QPR's Charlie Austin. According to my research, the 3 most common abandoned items are: 3rd, shoes; 2nd, hats; 1st, gloves, although they tend to be more seasonal. Extremely rare in the summer, they absolutely dominate competition in the winter. 2 from that list make it onto my next find. A beanie hat on a garden post with a pair of battered shoes underneath. Now, unusually for shoes and hats, these haven't been accidentally lost or forgotten. They've been deliberately placed at the end of someone's front garden as a free offering to whoever might fancy taking them home, possibly as a surprise gift for a loved one. I quite like this arrangement though, this little tableau. The hat up high, the shoes down low, almost making a strangely straight human body out of a wooden post. Some proper thought has gone into that. But just when you think that's all there is, this master of abandoning items has a little surprise left. You're satisfied with the hat, shoes, post-human, of course you are, but then they throw in a curveball, a gem, a one-off, something I've never seen before in all my experience of documenting abandoned items. A long, thin pillow, possibly a draft excluder, elegantly, almost nonchalantly draped over the garden fence, much in the way a classic Hollywood actress, Lauren Bacall or Marlene Dietrich, might drape themselves over a chaise longue. I mean, just beautiful. I just felt this next item felt so lonely. A single piece of cookware, well used, well loved, but now rejected and left alone on the pavement, hoping, probably in vain, for a new owner. But it's not just that it's alone here, all by itself, with not so much as a spatula to keep it company. It's its size. If you think of large earthenware oven dishes, they have a jolly feel. They make you think of a big family tray of roast spuds, or a warming, nourishing tranche of enchiladas. But what can you make in this little dish? 2 field mushrooms, perhaps, a halved tomato, a very shallow lasagna for a lonely singleton. I hope this dish doesn't get left on the shelf. Heartbreaking. And finally, perhaps the strangest thing I have ever seen in my lifetime study of abandoned items. It's this small paper H&M bag. But it's not so much the bag, which could just be common or garden rubbish. It's the contents. 4 cans of Sure deodorant and, judging by the weight, used Sure deodorant. I should say this wasn't directly outside someone's house. It wasn't some sort of bin trash that had been separated from its bin brethren. Someone had placed it there quite deliberately. So strange. I saw a drug pickup once. I was walking down a pavement with my friend Greg and a car suddenly pulled up next to us. Someone ran out, went over to a fenced off area of the pavement, reached in among these dead leaves, grabbed something, ran back to the car and it sped off. This package had that same kind of feel. It's something seemingly innocuous yet also weirdly suspicious. There's so many questions here. Why not put those deodorant cans in a bin or see if they can be recycled? If you're going to abandon them, why use the bag? Was that out of a sense of civic duty, with a bag looking less ugly than a set of deodorant cans? Why a Henny's bag? And why 4 cans? Had the abandoner been saving them up for some reason? Do they only dump their cans in sets of 4? Did someone really pack this bag with 4 cans, leave their house, and then deliberately just put it down, randomly or not randomly, on the pavement? Could the Sure cans have been full of that legal high nitrous oxide, aka laughing gas, that I think all the kids are doing at the moment? Or was this a message to someone? Maybe an answer to a question. You know, they've got the message, is it go time? And this is their answer. Not just sure, but for sure. Maybe. This odd little bag will remain a mystery. But let's wrap things up in the traditional manner, with verse. Bliss. A chair. A book. A warm hat. Comfy shoes. And a tray for snacks. The accoutrement of a perfectly peaceful Sunday afternoon. Foraged, plundered, scrumped from the concrete glades of South London. Complimentary gifts like wild strawberries, or hotel soap. But what of the bag? An enigma. How does it fit into Sunday reading on a threadbare chair? What does it mean? 1 shore, 2 shore, 3 shore, 4 shore. 4 shores? George Bernard Shaw, Luke Shaw, Sandy Shaw, Shaw Taylor, Police 5, keep 'em peeled.
Keep 'em peeled.
A Kafkaesque bag. A Kafkaesque book. Maybe that's the link. I'll take the draft excluder. But won't someone save the oven dish?